So first off, Jim Harbaugh going to the Chargers. I think this is one of the worst kept secrets. I think I don't know. I think people have been thinking that Jim Harbaugh has been going to the Chargers for months now. Um, Even before that horrible coach Brandon Staley got fired, I think people thought that Jim Harbaugh was done with the NCAA and was just going to the Chargers. He was going to the NFL, and the Chargers was the more logical place for him to go. So I think that was it. And personally, I think it's a great move. It's a great move. He's got his quarterback already in place. So he got his quarterback already in place. They need to fix the defense. Everybody always talks about how much talent the defense has. And my whole thing with the Chargers defense, and y'all tell me if y'all agree. I don't think they're as talented as what people keep saying that they are because they keep getting torched. I mean, we that's all everybody says is how much talent that defense has on it. And yet, here we are, and they always get smacked around. So I think they got to fix the defense, man. They definitely got to fix the defense. Khalil Mack had a great year this year. Joey Bosa always hurt. That's a problem. He's got a bunch of money he's getting paid. Khalil Mack, I'm not even sure he's going to be coming back. They've got a lot of cap issues that they're going to have to deal with. They got to keep Keenan Allen. Now, they got to keep him at a premium because Keenan Allen gets hurt, but they got to start there. I just think they got to retool the defense. They got to start in the draft. They got to get younger. They got to get tough up the middle. That's the one thing. They got to get tough up the middle on that Chargers defense. But I think that's something that Harbaugh does. I mean, he did it with San Francisco. I think he's going to do it again with the Chargers. Just build from the inside out. That's how you build a football team, especially if you already got your quarterback in place. When you got your quarterback in place, that changes everything, man. Everything. So, but if they can build from the inside out, get you some D tackles, get you some linebackers. Look, I think Derwin James is great, but you get Derwin James in some coverage, it's a problem. It's a problem. As much as we love Derwin James, we've seen him out there. You get him covering guys, he gets cooked. Let's just be honest. So I just think they got to change from the inside out. I think Harbaugh can be the guy to do that. He can be the guy to make the changes necessary for the Chargers to get better. He can be the guy to make the changes necessary for the Chargers to get better. Got to build, just got to retool. Just got to retool everything, man. So just got to retool. Somebody on TikTok, San Francisco was really good with Harbaugh. Yeah, they were. Yeah, they were. They got to keep pushing, keep getting the offensive line better. They got to continue to just build the team. You know, you got the quarterback. You got to build the team around him. You got to protect him. You got to give him weapons. You got to build the defense. They got a lot to do in San Diego. Los Angeles. They got a lot to do with the Chargers. They got a lot. Hopefully ownership, who has been bad, let's be honest, hopefully ownership will stay out of the way and allow them to do the things that they want to do. I think it's smart. They have their coach, and Harbaugh is going to take a lot of ownership in personnel matters, so he's going to bring in a guy that he can work with as far as general manager. Usually, you want to do it the other way around, but in Harbaugh's case, he's such a big personality and has proven to be successful. I think they're allowing him to help bring in a general manager that he can get along with. So we'll see. We will see. One question that comes to mind is how does Michigan respond? You know, or how does Harbaugh what drove him to leave? And first of all, a bunch of money, that would be number one. Number two, I think that he accomplished what he set out to accomplish at Michigan, was get Michigan back to where he and a lot of people thought Michigan should be. He did that. It took him a little bit longer, but he did it and did it successfully. So And one thing, a question over here on YouTube, Patrick Cockrell. Hey, Patrick, thanks for coming back to the show, man. He says, I think he knew some kind of NCAA sanctions are coming down from the sign stealing scandal, so he got up out of there. Pete Carroll 2.0. I don't think it's near as bad because Pete Carroll they were egregiously paying people. Sign stealing ain't that big of a deal. And if the NCAA tries to make sign stealing that everybody does, if they try to make this a big deal, then I think the schools should just form their own association and get out of the NCAA. You're trying to make sign stealing some big deal, then you're full of it. They're absolutely. We already know the NCAA is full of it, but if they're going to try to go down that road, I think it's absolutely ridiculous. It's just ridiculous. But I do think Harbaugh was done dealing with NCAA nonsense. I think he was just done with it. Like, you guys, I'm tired of messing around. I'm over it. I'm done. So I think that is a great point. I think it's a great point. But yeah, I think this is a great move for Harbaugh. I think it's a great move for Jim Harbaugh. For him, I think it's a good move. I think it's a great move for the Chargers. I think they get a coach in there that's going to have some credibility. That's another thing. I'm not sure the Chargers were all the way bought in on Staley. I'm not sure that he had the pulse of the locker room, that the guys respected him. I don't think that was necessarily the case, especially with some of them analytical nerd moves that he kept making that kept losing them football games. I think the locker room was just like, what the hell are we doing? What are we doing? So I think I think it's a great move all the way around. And they're going to respect Harbaugh because he's already done it at their level. And he knows football. And he knows they're going to put them in the best possible position to succeed. And that's all you can ask as a player. Put me in the best possible position to succeed, week in and week out. I think they're going to do that. I think that Harbaugh is going to demand a lot. I think they're going to get better quickly. I think they're going to be in the mix next year. I do. I think now, depending on how free agency and what they do with salaries and all that, I believe that they're going to be in the mix next year. Doesn't mean they're going to win the Super Bowl. That's not what I'm saying. They're definitely going to be better than what they were this year. I mean, they quit on the season. They're not going to be quitting on Harbaugh. You quit on Harbaugh, he'll just cut you. So I think they're going to be in the mix next year. They're going to run the ball a lot more next year. They're going to get them a hammer of a running back. Eckler was not the guy. He wasn't that guy. Fantasy football merchant, yeah, he wasn't the guy. They're going to go get them a running back and have a solid running game. They'll probably have two running backs. So not Blake Corum. Blake Corum's not an NFL running back. He's a college running back. He's not an NFL running back. He's not that guy. I think he can play in the NFL. Don't get me wrong, but he's not going to be the guy that you're going to depend on for 25 carries a game in the National Football League. I would love for him to prove me wrong. But he's not explosive enough. He's not big enough, but we'll see. They probably said the same thing as that he couldn't do the same thing in college, and he proved he could. The difference was he was running behind a bunch of men on that Michigan offensive line, and it's a little different, when you got men against boys on an offense versus defensive line than it is in the NFL, where everybody's a man. So we'll see. Moving on. I guess not really moving on. I guess the next question is, what does Michigan do? Sharon Brown, and I believe that's how you pronounce his name. I've heard it a couple different ways. We'll go with Sharon on the Big B Daily Show. I think he's got to get the job at Michigan. I mean, what did he coach? 6 games this year? He coached 6 games. They won them all. Looked good. The team seems to absolutely love the guy. I think he's got to get the job there. Yeah, I think Sharon Moore's got to get the job there. Done a good job. Coached, 5 or 6 games. The team loves him. They play hard. So Lane Kiffin does not. Lane Kiffin? What? Lane Kiffin is not a Michigan football coach. Lane Kiffin is not a Michigan football coach. Urban Meyer is not a Michigan. They would never hire Urban Meyer, number one. Urban Meyer could offer to coach there for free, and Michigan's not hiring him. I love that. I love the pettiness, though, of an Urban Meyer hire. Wouldn't y'all love the pettiness of an Urban Meyer hire? Now, that would be funny. That would be funny. That would absolutely be funny. So, but we'll see. I'm sure they're going to name him today. And if they do, I'm not sure. You know, that 30-day window of guys jumping into the portal, I don't know how many Michigan guys would do that. First of all, it's a little late in the game, but I don't know how many Michigan kids would just say, we're jumping in the portal now that Harbaugh's gone. You might have a few. Matter of fact, I'm positive you'll have a few, but it's not going to be like the kids from Alabama that just jumped ship. I don't think it's going to be like that at all. So I don't think it's going to be like that at all. That job is big for him. If he starts losing, why is the job too big for the guy? The guy was coaching a national championship caliber team this year and did it well. I mean, he did it on game days. He was calling his own play. I don't understand why the job is too big for him. That doesn't make sense. Maybe you don't want him to have the job, and you should just say that. Don't come up with excuses on why he can't have it or why he shouldn't have it. So it's crazy. It's crazy. Harbaugh fleeing the investigation. Yeah, I don't disagree with that. I don't disagree with that. How do I think Herbert will do with Harbaugh? I think Herbert's going to be fine because the emphasis is going to be a lot more on running the football than it is now in Los Angeles with the Chargers. The emphasis, they're going to put a lot more emphasis on running the football and not have Herbert be the savior. They're not going to have Herbert be, okay, everything is on you if we're going to win. Harbaugh doesn't do that. That's not what he did at Michigan. That's not what he did at San Francisco. That's not what he did at Stanford. It wasn't, okay, everything is on you as the quarterback. We're going to run the football to help you. And I think that makes a huge difference. So Harbaugh's going to cheat in the NFL too? Yeah, he's going to cheat just like they all do. So you're exactly right. Yeah, Harbaugh coached at Stanford. Before he went to San Francisco, he was at Stanford. And Stanford was really good when he was there. Now they had Andrew Luck, so that changes things. But they were good. So, yeah, and you're right. Harbaugh's way got him to a Super Bowl. And they were a bad call away from winning the Super Bowl. They were a non-pass interference call that was clearly pass interference from winning that Super Bowl against the Ravens. So, but we'll see. I like it. I like the way. I just like the hire all the way around.